Picture this. It's ancient times, and you're living in a small village. You have a bunch of chickens, but you're craving some fresh vegetables. Your neighbor, let's call him Farmer Bob, has a lovely garden full of veggies. So, what do? You trade your chickens for his veggies. Simple, right? This is the barter system, where goods and services are directly exchanged without using money. But there was a problem. What if Farmer Bob didn't want your chickens? Or what if your chickens were worth more than his vegetables? That's where things started to get tricky. Bartering wasn't always convenient or fair. As societies grew and trade expanded, people realized they needed a more efficient system. Enter commodity money. This was money made from materials that had value in themselves, like gold, silver, or even cowrie shells. These items were durable, divisible, and portable, making them perfect for trade. Cowrie shells were used as money in parts of Africa, Asia, and the Pacific Islands for centuries. They were so widely accepted that they became one of the longest used currencies in history. Imagine carrying around a purse full of shells. Around 600 BCE, the first coins appeared in Lydia, modern-day Turkey. At that time, Lydia was part of the Persian Empire and under the rule of Cyrus the Great, the king of Persia. These coins were made of electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, and stamped with symbols to denote their value. Coins made trade easier and more reliable because they had a standardized value. With the invention of coins came the first counterfeiters. People quickly realized they could mix cheaper metals with gold and silver to make fake coins. This problem was so widespread that even the famous Persian king Cyrus the Great had to tackle it. He introduced strict laws and severe punishments for counterfeiters, ensuring the integrity of his currency. Fast forward to the Tang dynasty in China, 618–907 AD, and we see the first use of paper money. These early banknotes were used as promissory notes, essentially promises to pay the bearer a certain amount of precious metals on demand. This innovation was a game changer, making large transactions much more manageable and reducing the need to carry heavy metal coins. When the famous explorer Marco Polo visited China in the 13th century, he was amazed by the use of paper money. He wrote extensively about it in his travels, describing it as a magical system where a man can take a document that says he owns a certain amount of gold and trade it for anything he needs. Sounds a lot like modern money, doesn't it? During the Middle Ages, Europe saw the rise of banking systems. Goldsmiths and money changers became the first bankers, providing safe places to store wealth and issuing receipts that acted as early forms of banknotes. These receipts could be traded or used to settle debts, paving the way for modern banking. The Knights Templar, a medieval Christian military order, established a network of banks across Europe and the Middle East. Pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land could deposit their money in one Templar bank and withdraw it from another, reducing the risk of robbery. This system was one of the earliest forms of international banking. Jumping to the 19th century, we enter the era of the gold standard. Countries began to peg their currencies to a specific amount of gold, which helped stabilize exchange rates and facilitate international trade. However, this system had its flaws and eventually collapsed during the Great Depression in the 1930s. Speaking of gold, have you ever heard of Fort Knox? Located in Kentucky, it's one of the most secure places in the world and holds a significant portion of the U.S. gold reserves. The idea of Fort Knox has become synonymous with security and wealth. After the gold standard, the world moved to fiat money. This is currency that has no intrinsic value and isn't backed by a physical commodity, but is instead backed by the government that issues it. Fiat money relies on trust in the government and the stability of the economy. One of the most dramatic examples of fiat money gone wrong is the hyperinflation in Zimbabwe during the late 2000s. At its peak, prices doubled every 24 hours, and the government issued a 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollar note. Can you imagine going grocery shopping with a $100 trillion bill? Today we live in the digital age where money is often invisible. We use credit cards, online banking, and mobile payment apps to conduct transactions. And then there's cryptocurrency, the latest evolution in the history of money. Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, was created in 2009 by an unknown person or group using the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. Despite numerous attempts to uncover their identity, Satoshi remains a mystery. Whoever they are, they've revolutionized the way we think about money. Money isn't just a medium of exchange, it's deeply embedded in our culture and language. Ever heard the phrase, money talks? Or how about time is money? Our idioms reflect the importance of money in everyday life. The United States has never officially issued a $1 million bill, but that hasn't stopped people from creating novelty versions. Interestingly, some people have tried to use these fake $1 million bills in real transactions. Needless to say, it didn't go well for them. Money also plays a huge role in psychology. Studies have shown that thinking about money can influence our behavior and decisions. For example, people primed with thoughts of money are more likely to work harder and longer, but also tend to be less helpful to others. The endowment effect is a psychological phenomenon where people ascribe more value to things merely because they own them. This can be seen in how people handle money and possessions, often holding on to things they don't need because they feel a personal attachment. Did you know that until 1973, gold backed the US dollar? When the gold backing was removed, many economists predicted that the dollar would collapse and that money without backing would become worthless. But as of today, their predictions have proven wrong. Nowadays, the strength of the US dollar is tied to all the countries in the world because the US dollar is found in the central banks of every country. This makes it maintain its value even without a physical backing. Today, global transactions are moving beyond paper banknotes and towards digital forms. In fact, 50 to 60% of all global transactions are done digitally using bank cards, cryptocurrencies, etc. In more advanced and developed countries, this figure reaches 70 to 80%. So what do you think would happen if something disrupted this digital system like an internet blackout? What would we do then? If you're interested in this topic, let me know in the comments and we can dive into it. Now answer this question. Did you know that the ancient people we talked about couldn't see the color blue? If this topic interests you, I highly recommend watching my video where I explain why ancient people couldn't see the color blue. Thank you so much for sticking with me this far. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more and better videos. Stay curious and energized until the next video.